My mom just played Chinese grandmaster Lei Tingjie in round 7 of Norway Chess, a huge chess tournament where participants are competing for $160,000. Now, before this round, something very fun happened, which was that I got asked to make the first move of my mom's game. So, I was standing there behind my mom and Lei Tingjie, and I was thinking about what move should I do. There was a part of my brain that really wanted to play the cow opening. I really wanted to play 1e3 and just see my mom's face when I did it. And so I was standing there kind of contemplating, should I play the cow opening or should I play d4? Because I knew that she wanted to play d4. Ultimately, I think that the seriousness of the situation with everybody there in suits and the whole place, I was in the same room as Hikaru, Magnus Carlsen, all these people, made me feel like, okay, Anna, maybe we shouldn't troll, maybe we should play d4. So I decided to play d4, but let me know in the comments if you think that I should have played the cow opening. I honestly think that my mom would have had a panic attack if I did that, and that was why I didn't want to do it, because I was like, she's about to face a really strong player, like, I cannot have her be stressed about something that I do. But anyways, the game started with d4, and my mom was facing, like I said, Lei Tingjie, a Chinese grandmaster who became a grandmaster when she was 19. She's 27 now. She has won the female candidates. She has won the female national chess championship in China. Very strong, and this was for sure going to be a tough game. So d4, d5, c4, c6. My mom took here, and I must say that this is a very solid line. Like, my mom is a solid player, and she can also play aggressively for sure, but I think that in these classical games, she has mostly been playing solid because she feels like she's playing against a lot of higher rated players. So this line is very solid. It's the Slav defense exchange variation, and it pretty much doesn't get more solid than this. So I will make the moves in the opening quite quickly because they just traded knight f3, castles, castles. Nothing crazy was happening here, but the action maybe started happening over here. So queen e2. The idea here is that black actually a lot of times will typically want to play e5, but the thing is here that if black plays e5, then white will take, and after it takes, this pawn will become weak. Also in this position it doesn't work because there's bishop takes knight, but that is a different story. The point is that after black plays this move, and these two pawns get traded, this pawn right here becomes an isolated pawn. A pawn that is not defended by any other pawn, and a pawn that is just going to be very easy to target. So black doesn't really want to play e5, and white doesn't want to play e4 either, with the same problem that this pawn becomes very weak. If this and this pawn gets exchanged, then this pawn becomes weak. So both players are kind of waiting with doing something in the center. However, the advantage that my mom has here, because we see that the pawn structure is completely equal, it's completely symmetrical, the advantage that she has is that this bishop is better than this one. And that is a slight advantage. This bishop is better because all of these pawns are in dark squares, which means that this bishop, because it's a light squared bishop, can navigate through those pawns and can get a lot more play. This bishop is blocked by all of these pawns, which means that it's actually just kind of standing here like a tall pawn that's not really doing anything. Lei's plan here would definitely be to trade this bishop for this one. So rook d8, and here a few kind of slow moves happened, and it seems as if there's not really much happening in this position. It seems as if both players are just shuffling pieces, but that is not true. Both players are actually slightly improving their position. However, Lei was maybe the one that was improving it the most. I thought that my mom's idea would be to go maybe knight d2, knight b3, knight c5, and try to place a knight over here, and this is something that she could have tried to done. The problem when the knight is on c5 is that then e5 comes with a little bit more force, because sometimes you cannot really take here, as then the knight is hanging. But this could have been a good idea for her, but she played knight e2, which was a really strong idea as well, preventing now Lei from placing a knight on c4 and stopping her ideas. But now Lei played g6. My mom played a3, she was also trying to improve the position. Lei played king g7, and now rook c3 and knight d7. Now, like I said, it looks as if nothing big is happening here, but actually, after my mom played rook c1, Lei played the move, well, first knight b6, and after my mom played rook c2, she played f6, and she realized that actually, wow, Lei has a plan. She's going to play e5 now, and when she plays e5, then she's going to recapture with the pawn, and now this pawn will not be weak anymore because there will be two pawns in the center next to each other that can protect each other. So here my mom realized that actually Lei was making a lot of progress, whereas she wasn't really making a lot of progress. She had played this very slow and passively. So actually here, instead of going rook c2, one idea that she could have had after going rook c1 and doing all of this was to play the move h4. This is a little bit of a crazy move, but the idea is that after Lei plays f5, now she has ideas of maybe playing h5 herself or preparing it by going queen d2, and after there's a few trades, going something like takes, and here going something like bishop c4, bishop d2, and then preparing this move h5, trying to put some pressure on this king. So this could have been an idea, but it was obviously something that I think my mom didn't really consider. In this moment, I think that she just was trying to play solidly and missed the idea of f6. And this was something also that she told me after the game. So she went back rook d1, and here we can see just how much like this move rook c1 didn't really do anything. Like she went here and she regretted it and went back because she realized that this rook is better on this file. So this move was just a move that she did to do something. So now the point is that after f6, the bishop comes to f7. Now this bishop that was standing as a tall pawn before is actually coming a little bit to play. And after something like e5, if takes and d4, this bishop will all of a sudden be much better than this one. So my mom here kind of decided that she must do something, and she played e4 herself because she was really worried about Lei playing e5 and getting so much play. And this was a good idea. But after now takes, now she's the one that has gotten a weak pawn, and now she is the one that is going to be slightly worse the rest of the game. So all of those moves that it seemed like Lei wasn't doing anything, she was actually slightly improving her position. And I think that is actually very instructional. So here my mom just wanted to trade rooks, and she realized that she needs to now try to play for the draw because this pawn is just very weak. So queen a5 was played. And now I was a little bit worried that something like queen c4 would happen, but Lei played knight c4, they traded queens, my mom took this pawn, and now this is a drawn position, but this pawn is the biggest weakness, and also this pawn is quite weak as well. So my mom is slightly worse. If someone wins here, it is Lei. So she played knight d2, which is a very nice move, preventing the knight from moving up to c4, and kind of limiting the pieces. So now bishop e8, knight c3, she's now stopping the knight from going over here as well. She's kind of trying to trap this knight. The knight went to b5 to trade, takes, and f3, king f7, knight e4, she's trying to bring up the knight. Now the best move is for Lei to keep on bringing in the king and trying to create some chaos with this king. However, she played knight c4, and this was a move that my mom was very happy about because after she pushes the pawn up to a4, there's nothing that Lei can do to avoid the trade of these pawns. And now that these pawns have been traded, now there's not really a problem because the problem was that this a pawn by my mom was so weak that in some occasions maybe would be lost and then Lei would win with her past a pawn, but now that was just not happening. So now they shuffled around and played a few more moves. They traded here, but this was just a completely drawn position. It's same colored bishop, same amount of pawns. There's really nothing that can happen here. And after bishop e2, they agreed to a draw. So the classical game between my mom and Lei became a draw, which my mom was very happy about because obviously she's 100 points lower rated. And even though she obviously wants to try to win with white, I think that she also wants to play solid and then try to have these players beat her. Like, you know, Lei's 100 points higher rated. She kind of wants these players, I think, to push and maybe in that way kind of overextend somehow. So I think that is the idea when you're lower rated and you're playing very solidly. So what happened then was that because this became a draw, this went to Armageddon. And Armageddon is a tiebreaker that they're using in Norway Chess, where basically white gets 10 minutes on the clock and black gets 7 minutes on the clock. So white has a 3-minute advantage, but white must win the game to win the match. Black can draw to win the match. So it's a little bit of a special situation. And in this Armageddon, they had played for over 4 hours, the classical game. So she was trying to get some rest before the game started. My mom had the white pieces, and I could tell that my mom was feeling a little bit tired. Or this is something that she said also after the game, that she was feeling very tired over here. And obviously my mom, she's 61 years old. She is older than everyone here, literally everyone. And in some cases, she's triple the age of some people. So, there's no excuses in chess, but I do think that obviously it is a very fair point to say that the older you get, the less energy you have. And I think that already her competing here at the highest level is so cool. There's really not a lot of people in the world that compete at this level at her age. She is the strongest woman in the world that competes at chess that's over 50 years old. And she has a lot of energy, but after she has played 4.5 hours, when she plays a new game, she does get tired. And this is something that she has told me, and something that she's realized that in this tournament, the Armageddon is very much at her disadvantage because of how tired she is after the classical game. So by keeping that in mind, this opening looked very solid. She said that she was a bit unhappy with her opening choice. It was too solid for her with the white pieces. She said that she should have gone for something more aggressive, but she wasn't really expecting Lei to play like this. Which makes sense that Lei played like this because she just needs to draw. So she was trying to play super solid. So rook d1, queen e7, bishop d2, all of this is the Slav, this is all theory, bishop e1, rook c1, my mom is just improving the pieces. But here, my mom, she was very tired and trying to play very fast. And we can see here that she's only spent a minute on this whole game so far because she's trying to play very fast. She spent less time than Lei has. And here she played d5, which just blunders a pawn on the spot, which is just a big mistake. She played d5 and she realized that, wait a second, I'm just blundering a pawn. And this is obviously a mistake that is, one that people of much lower rating than her would do. But I think that here you can see just what tiredness does. And this is a move that she would never play in classical chess, but I think she got the pressure of playing fast and the tiredness. So here, knight b6 just wins a pawn because now both this bishop is threatened and this pawn. So here, she should have gone d6, which I think is a move that if you play a lot of bullet, maybe it's a move that you would do, because here the idea is that after trades, yes, you're a pawn down, but at least you're getting a little bit of counterplay after moves such as bishop b5 or bishop b3 and knight b5, moves like this. However, she basically just played b3, and now she's fully just a pawn down. So this kind of became bad really quickly in her Armageddon game, which was very sad. She was fighting, all the way till the end. She was fighting, but she was 2 pawns down. And it wasn't just that she needed to draw, she needed to win. So the only thing that she could try to get a win in was if Lei would somehow flag. But then it became a point where my mom even had less time, and then she resigned the game. In this position, she's losing the bishop. So this was, I think, she was sad about having played such a bad Armageddon game. She wasn't that sad about losing the match, but she was really sad about not having played her best in the Armageddon game. And I think this is what we've seen before. It's happened again. That she plays very solid in the classical games, but she is struggling with the Armageddon. And we see here that she's really good at being able to fight in the classical games, but then when it becomes a little bit less time, several hours later, she has maybe not played the best Armageddon games, but the tournament is still ongoing. She did get 1 point for the classical game for drawing, which was still really good. She gained some rating, which is also really good. And she is right now trying to climb up the ladder in the standings. There's still 3 rounds to go. And it's going to be really exciting to see what happens. So wish my mom good luck for the next few rounds. Honestly, she's played so well this tournament. It's amazing to see. The classical games have been amazing. She played the classical game at over 98% accuracy again. I just want to say that. 98% accuracy. She's played so many games at 98% accuracy. I think it's just amazing to see that. And even though she's struggling a little bit with the Armageddon games, if it wasn't for that blunder, it would have been fine. So honestly, I'm really excited to see another Armageddon game as well, see what happens. My mom learned a lot from this game too, so wish her luck for the next round, and I'll see you all for round number 8 of Norway Chess.